The atmosphere in the Graham Norton show studio was electric as the audience settled in for what promised to be a blockbuster episode. The iconic red sofa gleamed under the studio lights, and Graham Norton, with his trademark charm and mischievous grin, welcomed Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, to a wave of applause. Dressed in an elegant cream blazer and exuding poise, Meghan smiled warmly, her presence a rare return to the UK spotlight since stepping back from royal duties. The interview began on a high note, with Graham deftly navigating light topics of her Archewell Foundation, her children's book, and life in Montecito. Meghan spoke with confidence, sharing anecdotes about Archie and Lilibet's latest antics, her voice carrying the polished cadence of someone used to public scrutiny. The audience laughed at her stories of juggling motherhood and philanthropy, and for a moment, it felt like a triumphant homecoming, a chance for Meghan to reclaim her narrative. But Graham, known for his cheeky humor, couldn't resist testing the waters, his questions inching toward the royal rift, her media battles, and the rumors swirling around her Hollywood ambitions. The crowd sensed the shift, their applause softening as Meghan's smile tightened, her hands clasped a little too firmly in her lap. The tension spiked when Graham, with a playful glint in his eye, brought up a tabloid report about Meghan's alleged demands on the set of a recent Netflix project. "So, Meghan," he said, leaning forward, "word is you're running a tight ship over there in Hollywood, some say a bit too tight. Care to set the record straight?" The question, laced with his signature banter, landed like a dart. The audience tittered nervously, but Meghan's expression hardened, her eyes flashing with a mix of hurt and defiance. "Graham, I'm focused on creating meaningful work, not feeding gossip," she replied, her tone sharp but controlled. "Those stories are just noise to distract from what matters." The crowd murmured, some nodding in support, others whispering at the edge in her voice. Graham, sensing he'd struck a nerve, pressed further, his tone still light but probing. "Oh, come on, you've got to admit, the A-diva rumors make for great headlines." Meghan's jaw clenched, and she leaned forward, her voice low but firm. "I came here to talk about my projects, Graham, not to be reduced to a caricature." The studio grew quiet, the audience caught between awe and discomfort, as the exchange teetered on the brink of confrontation. Then came the moment that would ignite a global firestorm. Graham, perhaps aiming to keep the mood playful, made a quip about her royal exit. "Well, you did trade a palace for a Netflix deal, so I'd say you're winning at something." The audience laughed, but Meghan's face froze, her composure cracking. "That's enough, Graham," she said, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. "You're crossing a line, and I'm not here for this." The crowd gasped, some cheering her defiance, others stunned by her intensity. Graham, caught off guard, tried to pivot with a laugh, saying, "Oh, Meghan, it's just a bit of fun," but she was done. Standing abruptly, she tore off her mic, her eyes blazing. "I'm not your punchline," she declared, striding toward the exit. Graham, flustered, called after her, "Meghan, come back, let's talk." But she didn't stop, disappearing behind the curtains as the audience erupted in a mix of cheers, boos, and stunned murmurs. Graham, visibly shaken, fumbled through a segue to a commercial break, his usual Polish faltering. Within minutes, clips of the clash flooded social media, with hashtags like #MeghanWalksOut and #GrahamNortonDrama trending worldwide, sparking a torrent of debate about media treatment, celebrity boundaries, and Meghan's unapologetic stand. Backstage, chaos reigned as producers scrambled to manage the fallout, their headsets buzzing with frantic directives. Meghan, flanked by her team, stood in a green room, her hands trembling with a mix of anger and adrenaline. "I should have known better," she muttered, her voice thick with frustration. Her team urged her to see the walkout as a bold move, a refusal to be baited by the UK media's relentless narrative. But Meghan was conflicted. She'd hoped the interview would highlight Archewell's work and her growth as a producer, not fuel another round of tabloid frenzy. Her phone buzzed with texts from Harry, urging her to stay strong, and from friends in LA, praising her for standing up to Graham's cheap shots. Outside, the studio audience was in uproar, some chanting "Meghan, Meghan," in solidarity, others gossiping about her diva exit. Social media was a battlefield, with X posts split between support. Meghan just showed the world she's done with the BS. And criticism, she can't handle a joke. Typical Hollywood ego. News outlets pounced, with headlines screaming Meghan Markle storms off Graham Norton show. And Duchess drama, Meghan's explosive TV exit. The incident reignited debates about her treatment by the British press, with supporters arguing Graham had deliberately provoked her to fit the difficult stereotype. Graham Norton, a master of navigating tricky interviews, faced an unfamiliar crisis. In the production booth, his team scrambled to craft a response, aware that the clash could tarnish his image as the affable host who gets along with everyone. Graham had misjudged Meghan's threshold, assuming she'd play along with his banter as other royals had in the past. When the show resumed, he addressed the audience with a rare moment of contrition. "Well, folks, that didn't go as planned. I apologize if I upset Meghan. She's doing incredible work, and I hope we can laugh this off." The crowd clapped politely, but the apology rang hollow to some, with ex-users accusing him of gaslighting Meghan by framing it as a misunderstanding. Behind the scenes, Graham's team fielded calls from reporters, while rumors swirled that the BBC was bracing for backlash from Meghan's global fanbase. On X, clips of the exchange were dissected frame by frame, with some users pointing to Graham's smirk as evidence of intentional provocation. Others defended him, arguing that Meghan should have expected his irrelevant style. "If you go on Norton, you know what you're getting," one post read. "She overreacted." The clash also sparked broader conversations about the media's obsession with Meghan, with some outlets recycling old narratives about her being too sensitive, while others praised her for refusing to be mocked. The fallout from Meghan's walkout tripled far beyond the studio, becoming a cultural lightning rod that exposed the fault lines of media, celebrity, and public perception. In the UK, tabloids had a field day, with headlines like "Meghan's meltdown, Duchess stitches Norton in TV tantrum," fueling the narrative of her as a volatile outsider. Yet her supporters, particularly in the US, saw the incident as a powerful rebuke of the UK's relentless scrutiny, with ex-posts like "Meghan stood up to the vultures who've hounded her for years." Queen behavior going viral. The clash also reignited debates about race and gender, with commentators noting that Graham's jabs echoed the coded criticism Meghan had faced since joining the royal family. "It's not just banter when it's always about her A demands or A attitude," one op-ed argued, pointing to the double standards applied to women of color in the public eye. Meghan, back in Montecito, watched the frenzy unfold, fielding calls from allies like Oprah and Tyler Perry, who urged her to stay focused on her work. Harry, fiercely protective, issued a statement via Archewell, condemning the disrespectful treatment and reaffirming their commitment to truth and dignity. The statement only fueled the fire, with critics accusing Meghan of playing the victim, while supporters hailed her for refusing to be silenced. Graham, meanwhile, faced mounting pressure. While some fans defended his cheeky style, others, particularly Meghan's vocal fanbase, called for an apology, with #boycott_Graham Norton trending briefly on X. The BBC, caught in the crossfire, issued a carefully worded statement expressing regret for any offense but defending the show's light-hearted tone. Behind closed doors, sources claimed Graham was rattled, regretting his misstep but frustrated by the narrative that painted him as a bully. He reportedly reached out to Meghan's team, offering a private apology, but no public reconciliation followed. The incident prompted soul-searching in the talk show world, with hosts like James Corden and Ellen DeGeneres weighing in on the challenges of interviewing polarizing figures. "You've got to read the room," Corden said on his podcast, hinting at the fine line between humor and harm. For Meghan, the walkout was a gamble that paid off in some circles, boosting her image among fans who saw her as a trailblazer unafraid to push back. But it also deepened her divide with the UK public, with polls showing a dip in her approval ratings, particularly among older viewers who viewed her exit as ungracious. The clash became a case study in the power dynamics of celebrity interviews, with Meghan's defiance sparking both admiration and scorn. In the weeks that followed, the Graham Norton show incident cemented itself as a defining moment in Meghan's public journey, a symbol of her refusal to conform to the media's expectations. Her walkout was dissected on every platform, from morning shows to TikTok, with creators reenacting the clash in viral skits. Supporters launched campaigns like #StandWithMeghan, sharing clips of her archival work to counter the diva narrative, while critics churned out memes mocking her as overly sensitive. The incident also cast a shadow over her upcoming projects, including a Netflix series and a potential memoir, with some speculating that the controversy would boost her visibility while others warned it could alienate key audiences. In Hollywood, Meghan leaned into her next steps, appearing at a charity gala with Harry, where she spoke briefly about resilience, a subtle nod to the Norton clash. Industry insiders praised her poise, with one producer noting, "She's not running from the fight as she's rewriting the rules." Yet the UK media remained unforgiving, with some outlets digging into her past interviews for signs of diva behavior, while others speculated about a rift with the royal family, who stayed silent on the matter. Graham Norton, meanwhile, weathered the storm but emerged bruised. His next episode drew record viewership, proof that controversy sells, but the backlash lingered, with some advertisers reportedly wary of associating with the show. Graham addressed the incident in a later monologue, joking, "I've learned my lesson and next time, I'll stick to asking about the weather." The line earned laughs, but online, it drew criticism for downplaying Meghan's experience. The clash also sparked a broader reckoning about talk shows in the age of social media, with commentators questioning whether hosts like Graham could survive in a world where audiences demand authenticity over provocation. For Meghan, the walkout was a reminder of the high stakes of her public life, a balance between vulnerability and strength. She and Harry doubled down on their archival mission, announcing new initiatives to support women's empowerment, a move seen as a direct response to the media's caricature. As the dust settled, the incident remained a polarizing chapter, one that underscored Meghan's resolve to control her star and the world's obsession with watching her try. The stage was set for her next move, with the global spotlight burning brighter than ever.